Burr, it's cold. I went to the Charlotte show yesterday, the Charlotte Fair. It was a 4-day event. I attended one day, but if you guys ever get a chance to go to the Charlotte Fair at Charlotte, North Carolina, you need to take that place in. Tina made the comment that every car in America was there and every person in America was there. The highlight for me was the flea market. Anything you'd want, especially Ford or Chevy from any year, is probably out in that parking lot. Get a chance, take it in. I think you really enjoy it. Just go when it's a little bit warmer. Today I'm going to try to do some work in the shop. Got a few hours to play. I'm going to show you some sheet metal. I picked up a few patch panels for the Javelin. I'm going to show you what the patch panels look like and tell you where I got them and a little bit about what we have. Did an online search and was able to find some patch panels, a few patch panels for the Javelin. And I got some panels from 3 different people. I got a panel or 2 from Classic Parts for You, Kennedy American, and Classic to Current Fabrications. I went ahead and mic'd the panels to see what gauge metal they are. And I'm comparing them to my thickness gauge here to see. And I'm going to show you how well made these panels are, what I like or don't like about the panels. I can tell you right off the bat, any panel is good. I don't care where it is or who made it. Just the fact that somebody's making AMC panels is great. So let's take a look at what I got. Classic Parts for You gave me a trunk panel. Actually it's 5-piece. It's all handmade, hand cut, nothing stamped anymore. There's the main piece right there. And then the rest of it it's just sitting in the trunk. I have to put it together kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. It's a 5-piece panel, which actually is good in some ways because there's some areas of the floor I may not want to cut out. But if you need to replace everything, I guess a 1-piece stamping would be great and be a lot easier. But at this point, I'm glad to get anything. Well, here's a rear floor pan that came from Kennedy American. And as you can see, it's a well-made pan. It's actually contoured to fit the shapes of the Javelin. Nice, where they indented it, where they put the ribs in for strengthening the pan. Really nice, thick, deep. That's a strong panel. It's made by Kennedy American. And it's 14 gauge. It's a little heavier gauge than some of the other panels I got. Well made. My only complaint is it's a partial panel. I ordered a floor panel, rear floor panel, and that's what I got. And I'm glad to get it again. But I have this much more of the rear floor that is rotten, and I would like to have something, at least a more complete floor panel. That being said, the Kennedy American was very fast delivery, as was all the guys. Everybody, quick delivery, quick service, and it's very well made, and it's a little heavier steel than the rest of them, a little heavier gauge. This is 14 gauge, where the rest of the panels that we're going to look at is 18 gauge. Okay, here's a rear floor section from Classic to Current Fabrications. Again, quick delivery. It's 18 gauge, it's a little thinner. I actually mic'd all the panels to make sure that I'm getting the measurements correct. One thing I like about the Classic to Current Industries is it's nearly a full panel. A little lighter weight, not as contoured, not quite as well made, but a much more complete panel. I'm going to set the Kennedy panel on top, and you can see the difference. A partial floor versus a more complete floor. So, you know, I like the heavy gauge, I like the more complete floor. If the Kennedy was a more complete floor, I think that'd be the way to go, but even so, the Current to Classic fabrication panel is really nice. Here's a Kennedy front floor panel, and it's more complete. Very well made. Nice contours. It'll be fairly easy to patch that one in. Wish they had done that with the rear floor section. So I bought 2 front floor sections from Kennedy. There's the other one. I bought 2 rear sections from Kennedy. I bought this full panel from Classic to Current Fabrications, and I have some other panels too. Let's take a look at those. These are trunk turn down panels. I got these from Classic Parts for You. 18 gauge, and they fit inside the trunk, actually between the, it's like the inner quarter panel. I'll show you where it sits. This fits down in the bottom below the trunk floor pan, between the quarter panel, outer quarter panel. And it's pretty well made. Looks like it's going to fit nice. 18 gauge metal. Okay, here's another angle of the same piece. It's going to be kind of hard to hold the camera and hang this part too. But it's actually the left side trunk extension, and then the quarter panel, which I'm going to replace that lower quarter panel, will weld to the trunk extension. Here's another view of that trunk extension I bought from Classic Parts for You. It's a lower trunk panel. It actually mates up to the quarter panel right here. See if I can reach down here. Show that to you. Sorry, trying to do this one-handed. So that fits in there, goes up inside the trunk, and then meets the quarter panel right here. I got inner and outer rocker panels also. This is the inner panel, that's full length. Nice well made panel. And it's got the nuts welded in place here, which is another plus. One less fabrication job that I'll have to do. And we'll take a look at the inner panel. Okay, duh, I said inner panel. Now we're taking a look at the outer panel. I'm old, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. Again, well, nice well made panel. I'm not sure I'll need all of these panels. Probably going to need partial panels for sure, but don't want to take any chances. While I can get some sheet metal, I'm going to grab it and go. I don't recall who made these inner and outer rockers. I'll have to look it up in the sheets that I have, where my receipt sheets, and then I'll let you know. Again, nice well made panels, inner and outer rockers. I can't find the receipts for the inner and outer rocker panels. I'm judging by the thickness. That's 74 thousandths, so that's a heavier gauge metal. I'm judging by the thickness and how well made those are. I'm saying Kennedy American on that. 74 thousandths thickness on the inner and outer rockers. I'd like to encourage you guys to buy panels from people who make these things. These are reproduction panels. There's no original stampings left. Support AMC people who provide products for you, so they'll stay in business, and encourage them to manufacture more parts. Last weekend I got the gas tank removed and some other odds and ends. Scrap metal piles building up. Let's go inside now and see if we can get the rear end out, springs. Might get energetic, I don't know. And we'll start on the front suspension also. Here's something pretty cool. I got this from Turtle, actually. I just borrowed it to see how it fits. It's a saddle, and actually made to mount small block Chevy engines. You just drop it down in the chassis, turn it, fit it around, bolt it up or weld it in, fit to it just the size, and then you can drop in a Chevy. I believe it'll fit in this Javelin here. Still hoping for a 390 or a 401, maybe even a 360, but it sure would be a lot easier to put in a Chevy engine and transmission and everything else. We're going to try to keep it AMC though. Just pretty nice little well-made fabrication. I'm not sure who he got it from, but I appreciate you letting me take a look at it, Turtle. May get it from you anyway just to play with. Okay, one rear end out of the hole. Not too easy for a one-man show, but it's out. Get the springs off next. Springs. I'm getting too old for this. Okay, except for a couple of shocks, that completes the rear suspension. And I guess after lunch, I think I'll see if I can tackle the front trunnion suspension. That's going to be a bear probably, but what the crap, nothing's been easy on this anyway. But we're having fun, that's the main thing. Okay, the trunnion suspension is up next. Front suspension, I've never done a trunnion front suspension before. I don't like working with coil springs too much. They're pretty dangerous, but we'll have to work our way through it. While I'm looking, I think I'm going to fabricate some kind of mount right here on the front of this frame rail, so I can put a plate across through there and then mount my rotisserie right there. Now on the trunnion, like I said, I've never done one before, so I'm going to try to compress the springs first, I guess. Compress the spring, see if I can get it out. And then if I'm able to do that, we'll break loose the strut rod, spindle assembly, tie rod ends, sway bar, and then lower and upper control arms. Alright, let's get started. Okay, excuse my language, but this kind of makes your butt tight, if you know what I mean. That thing's like a time bomb waiting to go off, and I'm about out of room. So I'm going to see if I can pry it out of here. Okay, there we go. One time bomb on the floor. All right, let's keep on ripping and stripping. This thing looks like it's got an upper and lower spring seat. I don't know if they're identical or not. There's the upper seat. And the lower seat's got a bumper on it. See the bumper down there? Okay. This here, I guess, is the trunnion assembly. Right here. And I get a wide view just for my own information, if nothing else. So I can figure out how to put it all back together. The truth is, I ate too much lunch. Excuse me, dinner. We call it breakfast, dinner, and supper down here, as opposed to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Don't ask me, I had a hard time learning that myself when I moved here, but I had too much dinner. It's getting kind of late. I got the front suspension completely removed now, except the lower control arm. It's soaking. It's really rusty, and I can't move it with the impact wrench at all. So everything except the lower control arm, that side will be complete. I'm going to call it a day. We'll resume next weekend, I guess. See you then.